Still not converting your leads? It's probably not your offer, it's what happens after they reach out. I'm going to show you how to build a follow up system that actually converts without chasing people.
Welcome. We're talking about how to build a follow up system that converts without you living in your inbox or chasing people down. If leads are coming in but not turning into booked calls or paid clients, the fix is usually not more marketing. It's what happens after someone finds you. By the end, you'll have a simple blueprint that you can copy, and I'll show you the easiest next step to implement it with my support inside of Revenue Stream OS. Here's the problem in one picture. Leads are coming in and leaking out. They leak when the response is slow, the next step is unclear, or follow-up depends on memory. That leak is really expensive because you already paid for the lead with time, content, ads, referrals, whatever, right? So our job is to plug the leak with a repeatable system that runs even when you are busy. This is the journey that we're building. Inquiry, response, follow-up, booking, delivery. Most businesses only have the first part and then vibes for the rest, right? But the goal is to replace the vibes with an actual path that works. If you can see the path, you can improve it. If you can't see it, you can't even fix it. Think of your follow-up like a flow, not a one-time message. The lead needs a fast confirmation, a clear next step, and gentle reminders that keep the momentum alive. We're not chasing people, we're guiding them. When your process is clear, you actually sound more confident because the system is really doing the heavy lifting for you. So why do leads go cold? Usually it's one of these: no instant response, an unclear next step, inconsistent follow-up, or no ownership. People don't just ghost you. They get distracted and then they move on. So we're going to win with speed, clarity, and consistency. That is the whole strategy for today. Here are the 5 pieces that we need for converting follow-up system to be effective. We need a trigger. What starts it all? We need an instant response, confirmation, and next step. Follow-up sequence. Those are the little nudges. A CTA or a call to action, one clear action for that customer or new client to take, right? And then we need tracking so that you can see what's happening. If you install these 5 pieces, you immediately stop losing as many leads. So step 1 is choosing your main trigger. Start with one main lead source first. Usually it's your primary form or an inquiry point, right? Some common triggers: either they submitted a form, a new contact was created in your CRM, either you missed a call, or there was a chat message that was initiated. Don't overbuild. We're aiming for works every time, not complex, right? Name your workflow really clearly so that you can find it in 10 seconds, right? 10 seconds you're looking for it, you found it because you named it properly. Step 2 is your instant response. This is so important. This message should be short, human, and helpful. It should say, "Got it. Here's what to do next." For example, "Got it, Timberly. Want to move forward? Book here." And then you add your link. Or reply with 1 for booking, 2 for info. That's a good one. It works well for me. This is the message that keeps the lead warm. Now, the follow-up sequence. This is where the money resides. One message isn't follow-up. It's an attempt, right? Your sequence should touch them over a short window of time while interest is still high. We'll keep it respectful and helpful. Reminders, clarity, proof, and a clean close the loop message. Your CTA has to be clear because leads don't convert when they're confused. But here's the important part. Clear doesn't always mean book a call. Different businesses need different next steps. So this rule is simple. One message equals one primary next step, not 5 different options, not a buffet, one clear action. Here are strong next steps depending on what your lead is trying to do. If you sell appointments, you could say book your spot here and then add a calendar link. If people are asking for pricing or info, reply with the word info and I'll send details. Or you could say, tap here to see pricing, and then it goes to a one info page link, right? Just one. If you need to qualify them before they book an appointment with you, you could say, complete this quick intake form. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. If you sell something that people can buy without a call, you could say, start here or purchase here, and then add a checkout link. If your CTA is a trial like mine, you can start the trial here and follow the day whatever steps with a link, right? If you need proof of readiness, you could have them upload documents, photos, insurance, whatever. You can have them upload it via a link, a simple upload form that includes a link. The point here is that you're never asking them to figure it out. You're guiding them to the next obvious step. And once they take that step, your automation can move them to the next stage. Clarity is what turns interest into action, and action is what turns leads into clients. So here's the build plan for the sequence. Day 0, day 1, day 2 or 3, day 5, and then day 7. We're spacing the touches out so that it feels supportive and not spammy. You can do SMS plus email or just an SMS text message to get started, right? The key is that it's consistent and it stops the minute that they book. Your automation will handle that part for you. Missed calls are actually hidden gold. If someone called and they didn't reach you, that's usually high intent, right? So you need a missed call workflow that fires instantly. Hi, first name. Sorry we missed your call. Want the fastest next step? Book here, and then a link. That single automation recovers leads that you would have otherwise lost. Now, here's the upgrade for business owners who don't like taking calls or don't want to be tied to the phone. You can add an AI call assistant that answers calls for you. So the lead gets a real-time response, even if you're busy, if you're in a session with a client, or you're just not available. You're on vacation, right? Your AI call assistant can greet the caller professionally, ask what they need, capture their name, the reason for calling, route them to the right next step, whether that's a booking link, an information page, an intake form. Log the conversation so that it shows up in your pipeline so that you can visually see them. So that way you're not losing high intent leads and you're not living on your phone. This is not extra. This is what turns missed calls into booked opportunities. Tracking is what turns chaos into control inside of your business. Because if you can't see where leads are, you can't manage what's happening. You're just reacting, right? And reacting is actually exhausting. Most business owners are doing follow-up like this, right? They checking their inbox, they're searching through old text messages, they're scrolling their DMs, they're looking for who said what in what comment, and they're hoping that they didn't miss anyone. That is not a pipeline. That is straight up detective work, right? A pipeline actually fixes this because it gives every lead a home and a status inside of your business. So here's the simple set of stages that I like for most service-based businesses. A new lead, right? They just came into your business. Someone contacted, they got an instant response. Engaged in conversation it means that they replied or they asked a question, right? Booked appointment. This is someone who has an appointment scheduled or their next step is confirmed. No response is usually they went quiet and they need a follow-up sequence. One or not now, right? Either it means that they became a client or they're not a good fit right now. And here's why this is powerful. Follow-up becomes obvious. You don't ever have to wonder who needs attention. You can simply log into a system and see your list, your pipeline, where everyone has a place, everyone has a home. So you can stop repeating yourself. You can stop wondering who needs what. You can just visually see it. You can see the last touch that happened, what happened, so that you don't have to restart any conversations from scratch. You're no longer digging through text messages or Facebook messages or posts and all the things. You can measure what is broken in your business when you can see it. For example, if you have 50 leads stuck in your contacted and only 2 in your booked section, you don't need more leads. You need a stronger next step or a better follow-up. And then you can also delegate. So even if it's just you today, a pipeline makes it possible to hand this off later to a virtual assistant, a friend, a sister, whoever is helping you in your business. You can hand it off later if it's all organized, right? Because it's not just lost or stuck in your head. This is exactly why I always push structure first in businesses, even if you're just starting out, because a pipeline doesn't just organize your leads. It tells you what to do next every single day in your business. Visibility in your business creates control. Track progress and drive results. That is the goal for even the smallest of businesses. You start out with proper structure, you're able to scale. And once this is set up inside of Revenue Stream OS, your system isn't just running, it's actually trackable. That's when growth becomes predictable in a business. Messaging matters more than people think because your follow-up isn't just a reminder, it's your brand in sentence form. And the goal is never to sound desperate. We want helpful, confident, clear, easy to work with. So here's the mindset shift. You're not chasing them like, please respond. You're guiding them like, here's the next step when you're ready. That tone alone changes how people experience your business. The rules for high converting follow-up messaging. Rule number 1 is short messages win. If your text message needs scrolling, it's too long. One message equals 1 point, right? So rule number 2, 1 idea per message. Don't stack 5 things in one follow-up. People freeze. Clarity converts. Rule number 3, always include one next step. Reply yes to book here. Grab the information here. Complete this form. You want to make it easy. Rule number 4 is rotate message types so that you're not repeating yourself. This is what keeps follow-up from feeling annoying. So here's the rotation that I personally use. A reminder, just making sure you saw this. Here's the link. value or frequently asked question, right? Answer the question that they're already thinking, but they just haven't asked it yet. Pricing, timeline, what happens next, or who it's for. Proof is a quick credibility line. We set this up for a business last week and they stopped missing leads immediately. This is actually my credibility proof, but it actually happened for me last week. Or you can add a testimonial, result, or a short story. You want to close the loop. This is the professional exit so that you don't keep chasing forever. Should I close this out for now, or do you still want help? That close the loop message is powerful because it gets responses from people who were silently sitting on the fence. What this does for your business: when your messaging is structured, you stop relying on moods and memory. You don't have to think of what to say every time. And your leads experience you as organized and professional because you are. And this is exactly why I like implementing this inside of Revenue Stream OS. Once your messages are built and automated, you're not rewriting follow-ups at midnight. The system handles it consistently. Desperate follow-up sounds like begging, but structured follow-up sounds like leadership. And people buy from the business that feels like it has a process. This slide is literally the backbone. If you understand this, you can build follow-up that runs clean and doesn't embarrass you. Here's the core workflow logic: trigger, tag, instant response, wait, follow-up touches, and then a stop rule. So let me break that down in plain English. Trigger. A trigger is the moment that the system says, okay, this is a real lead. That could be a form submission, a chat message, a missed call, a Facebook lead form, whatever your main entry point is. The tag. A tag is how we label the lead so the system knows what's happening. Some examples are new lead, needs follow-up, booked appointment, or no response. This is how we can keep leads from getting lost in the shuffle. Instant response happens because of an automation. This is really your speed to lead. The lead gets an immediate confirmation and one clear next step. This protects your momentum even if you're busy. A wait is where most people actually mess up because they follow up randomly. The wait step inside the system is what makes your system feel intentional and not annoying. You're spacing your touches out so that it's consistent but not spammy. The follow-up touches, right? That's your sequence, your reminders, your value, your frequently asked questions, your proof, and your close the loop message. Because it's not about being pushy. It's about being present and making it easy to move forward. And a stop rule is added in. This is the most important part because this is the part that makes the whole thing professional. The stop rule means when they book, everything stops. Because if you don't have a stop rule, your system keeps sending follow-ups to people who already booked. And now you just look messy. I've seen it happen. It actually happened to me in the past. Someone schedules and then they get a text like, hey, just checking in. Did you still want to book? And they're like, I already booked. That's not just awkward. It also reduces trust in your business. So your stop rule is the guardrail that says, once they book, remove them from this sequence and move them to this next stage, right? Why this beats manual follow-up? Because manual follow-up depends on memory, period. And memory is not a business strategy. A real system responds the same way every time, follows up on schedule, stops when the goal is complete, and it tracks where the lead is so that nothing slips through. That's why Revenue Stream OS isn't just software. It's where we install this logic properly inside your business so that your follow-up feels polished, consistent, and automatic. Your stop rule is what keeps your business from texting like an ex. All right, so let me save you a bunch of time and some frustration because these are the mistakes that I see constantly, even with smart business owners. Mistake number one is waiting too long to respond. People assume they have time, but they don't. A lead is hottest right when they reach out to you, when they raise their hand in a Facebook group, when they say, yes, that's me. If you wait hours, you're competing with whoever responded first. Mistake number two is writing long paragraphs. Long messages feels like work. If your text looks like a terms and conditions page, they're not reading all of that. Short messages win. One idea, one next step. Mistake number three is that there's no clear call to action. This one is huge. If the lead doesn't know what to do next, they stall. Every touch should guide to one next step. Either book, reply with a keyword, complete the form, or start the trial. Mistake number four is that there's no tracking. If leads live in 5 places, in your DMs, your texts, your email, your voicemails, you will miss people. A pipeline gives you visibility so you can see who's new, who's engaged, who's booked, and who needs follow-up. Mistake number 5 is never testing. There's no system, right? This is a silent killer. People build workflows and assume that they work, and then they wonder why they're still losing leads. You have to test like a customer every time. Okay, so no system to track leads is a big one. Mistake number 6, building too many workflows at once. This is the busy but not effective trap. You try to build 10 automations, get overwhelmed, and then none of them run consistently. So we're doing the opposite. We're keeping it simple and repeatable so that you actually implement it. And here's the truth. A basic system that's running today beats a perfect system that's stuck in your head for the next 6 months. This is where my GPTs make this easier. And if you're thinking, okay, but I don't know what to say, or I'm going to overthink the messaging, this is exactly why I built my custom GPTs. They help you generate short, instant responses that sound like a clean version of you. You can create a 7-day follow-up sequence for your offer, clear call to actions that don't feel awkward, so that you're not just staring at a blank screen trying to write the perfect message. Because the goal is speed plus clarity plus consistency. Installed once, and then it runs. Now, this is the part where we test like a customer, because this is where most people skip a step. And then they wonder why leads are still slipping through the cracks. Testing is not optional. Testing is really how you go from, I think it's set up, to, I know it works every single time. The step one is to run a real life test, like not a pretend one. You're going to trigger the system exactly the way that a new lead would, right? You submit the form that you create using a real email and your phone number. To trigger a missed call, you call your business number and then you hang up. Send a test message through chat or SMS, depending on your setup, because we're testing the entry points, because that's where breakdowns happen. Then you want to confirm that the 4 things that matter, right? Confirm the 4 things that matter. When you run the test, you're checking that an instant response arrives. Did the lead get the text or email immediately? If it didn't arrive, we check the timing, the channel settings, and workflow status. Was the tag applied appropriately? Is the lead labeled right? For example, does it say new lead, needs follow-up, missed call, right? Tags are really how the system knows what to do next. Was the pipeline updated? Did the lead land in the right stage? Can you see them? If you can't see the lead move through your system, you can't manage it. Was there a follow-up queued? This is a big one. Even if the first message sends, is the rest of the sequence queued to go out correctly on day 1, day 3, day 5, 7, 14, whatever it is that you set up, right? Because the first message is just the opener. The sequence is what converts. If it fails, fix once, then retest it immediately. If something fails, we don't really panic. We just know how to rebuild everything, right? Lastly, we diagnose. Is the trigger correct? Is the workflow published and turned on? Is the message connected to the right channel? Is the timing set properly? If you don't have something like this set up in your business, don't worry, because I'm going to give you a way that you can set this up in your own business and participate in a 7-day challenge so that you can set it up step by step by step. And once you set it up for one, you can duplicate the process and set it up for every single lead source inside of your business. Okay, so what does done look like? You're done testing when you can run the same test 3 times and get the same result every time. Because consistency is what makes you confident enough to rely on the system and confident enough to scale your marketing. And that is the key takeaway. Confidence comes from proof, not hope. You don't want to hope your follow up works. You want to know that it does, right? We also test like a customer because this is where most people skip and then wonder why leads don't convert. Okay, so when follow up is consistent, 2 things happen at the same time. Conversions go up and your stress levels go down because now your business isn't relying on your memory, your mood, or whether you had time to circle back to them. Here's what consistent follow-up changes. You start to respond faster without being glued to your phone. You're not living in your inbox. The system handles the first touch instantly, and the follow-up keeps moving even while you're working, driving, parenting, or you're in sessions. Leads get guided instead of ignored. And most leads don't need a sales pitch. They need a clear path. When you guide them with clear next steps in your business, you stop losing people who were actually interested. You stop leaving money in the maybe pile. That pile is expensive. It's all the people who reached out, then got no reply, or got only one reply and then they disappeared. A follow-up system pulls people out of the maybe pile and into a decision. Your business also starts to feel predictable. This is the biggest win because you can look at your pipeline and know what is happening. Who needs what, right? Who needs a nudge? Who needs to be booked? Who actually booked? Who's quiet? And when you can see it, you can manage it. And this is the part I want you to really take in. This isn't hustle. This is infrastructure inside of your business. Hustle is you trying to remember how to follow up with everyone, who responded to your DM, who answered this way, who answered that way. But infrastructure is having a system that follows up for you consistently, professionally, and on time. So when I talk about Revenue Stream OS, I'm not selling a tool. I'm literally talking about installing the infrastructure behind your growth so that your business can convert leads even when you're not actively chasing them. So here's the simplified conversion path that we're building. A lead comes in, there's an instant response, one clear next step, follow-up reminders happen without you thinking about it. There's conversion and confirmation. Now, that next step can be different depending on your business. Again, whether they'll book a call, request information, complete an intake form, start the trial, or pay a deposit. But the rule stays the same. There's one path, not 5 different options. And when people see a clear path, they move. And when you can see the path inside of your pipeline, you can optimize it. That's how you stop guessing, stop chasing, and start running your follow-up like a system. All right, so here's the final step in all of this. You've got 2 options from here, right? You can take what you learned today and try to piece it all together on your own with a bunch of different tabs open, searching YouTube, guessing at settings, rewriting messages, hoping that it works. Or you can implement the fast way with structure and support so that it's installed correctly, actually runs, and you have a real person to ask questions to work with. That's exactly what Revenue Stream OS is for. Revenue Stream OS is where we install this system together. There's instant response so that leads don't go cold. There's a follow-up sequence so you can stop relying on your memory. There's pipeline tracking so that you can see what's happening, and booking next steps so that leads move forward. So if you're done losing leads in your business that you've already earned, you can start your trial. RevenueStreamOS.com/activate trial. And when you get in, don't really overthink it. There's a community, there's a structured growth challenge that you'll have access to. It gives you structured steps. So your job is simple. You can build the day's step, then post when you are done, right? Because there's community there. And then once I can see that you're committed, you're in there, I can actually help you tighten it. I can help you troubleshoot anything that's off and make sure that your system is actually doing what it's supposed to do. There's co-working sessions. There's a community that gives you support, and because you don't need more motivation. You actually need a system that works when you're busy. So you can start the trial, install it with support, and stop letting your good leads slip away. There's a structured growth challenge with all the things that you need, consistency, people doing it with you, and then you'll have access to me to ask questions. So this is a QR code that you can scan to start your trial today and grow your business tomorrow. That is the goal.